There he is.
My man.
There he is. We are actually live right now.
Oh man, I didn't know that. All right, we live.
I didn't know it either until I started seeing people come up. So,
okay.
anyways,
all
right.
All right.
Good to see you, Steve.
Hey, as always, it is awesome to see you, brother. It is awesome.
Yeah. Hey, so tonight I want to talk about what a man should do right after a breakup. You know, if you get shot, you want to go to the ER. You're bleeding somewhere, you have a heart attack, you got to go to the emergency room, okay? But when it comes to shock and trauma of a breakup, which most men have gone through, there's no such thing as an emergency room. They try to deal with it by themselves.
Yes.
If you get a big gash in your arm or you cut your finger off, you want to go to experts who can sew it up and stop the bleeding. I'm doing this tonight on a Friday night, and I love doing these kind of broadcasts on a Friday night because weekends are the hardest for men who just went through a breakup. The first week, like if a guy breaks up on a Tuesday or Wednesday or gets broken up with, obviously the shock is tough for the first couple days, but man, that first weekend by himself, there's a lot of stuff going through his head, including maybe taking his own life, hurting someone, stalking, his wife or girlfriend, or, making sure she doesn't have a boyfriend or another man, whatever, but the guy is hurting. And there's no such thing as an emergency room for the heart until you and I came along, because we help guys with this kind of stuff.
Yes.
A guy just goes through a breakup. He's hurting. There's a million things going through his head. In the same way, a person might be bleeding. What is the emotional version of physically bleeding to death? What happens to a man when he goes through a breakup, or she says she wants a divorce, or something like that? What's going on inside that man's head at that moment?
Well, it's not just the moment, George. It's before the moment even happens. It's before he even meets her. It's a build. It's what I call a buildup. If you shake a soda, it's a buildup. And buildup is that the young man going into the relationship. Some guys look for happiness through the woman. Some guys look for the emotional connection through the woman. Some guys look to find the intimacy through the woman. And what they will normally do is they will get caught up in that intimacy. They will get caught up in all those emotions that come along with meeting a woman. And when they get with that woman at that point in time, and the woman realizes that, okay, you know what, I have feelings. This guy has feelings, but maybe it's the first argument. Maybe it's the first. The test, I'm the S test, I'm gonna cuss, but the poop test, you know what I mean? The first test that they give these guys to kind of see, okay, well, what is he going to do? Is he going to not necessarily put me in my place as an abuse, but is he going to stand up for himself? Or is he going to say, I'm sorry? Is he going to apologize? Is he going to take the blame for it? Is he going to try to make it better? And what happens is along the relationship, when that happens, we're going to the beginning of the buildup to get to your end real quick, George, but it's a buildup of the woman not really respecting the man. It's the love part of the love feeling and feeling good and all that love stuff kind of goes out because the woman is more upset because it's like, lead me. You're the man. You're supposed to be guiding me. You should not supposed to let me do this and do that. And maybe the man finally stands up for himself. I mean, everybody comes to the end road in different ways, George, but what happens is once the breakup happens, that man feels like he's losing a part of himself because the attachment he has to the woman. So when the breakup happens, he feels less than a man. He feels less than himself. He feels that he's not good enough. He goes through his head and he tries to reminisce and tries to figure out Where did this go wrong? Where can I fix this? Where can I do it now? Is there a way I can get her back? Is there a way I can do this? Is there a way I can do that? And like you say, the weekend is coming. You know, Friday night we used to go to the movies. Friday or Saturday night we used to take walks, and and all these emotions and feelings are coming up that are really holding him down. And like you say, George, until men like us came into the picture, a lot of these guys felt like, you know what, if I can't have her, the world can't have her. If I can't have her, I'm going to end my life. If I can't have her, I'm going to go in this deep, dark depression. If I can't have her, drugs are going to help me get out of this. If I can't have her, drinking is going to help me get out of this. So a lot of these guys are looking for cures outside of themselves to try to fix something that they got to start working on internally. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go too long, George, but
that's good.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that you're right. It's an end result, but I really think a lot of these young men also need to know, my brother, is the beginning result, because how you feel about yourself as you came into this is kind of the back burner of what's going to happen when you leave this, because without a sense of self in the beginning and making the woman his sense of self, he feels like he's losing a part of her. So just like a drug, not the no knock on drug addicted people, but it's like an addiction. I need her back. I need that feeling of love back. I need to feel what we had back, because without that, I'm in total darkness.
Yeah. If you build your world around that woman,
yes,
and that woman goes, then there goes your world.
Yes.
Then there's nothing left. If she is your world and she disappears, so does your world. And I always think that weekends are the hardest for men who have gone through divorce or a breakup, because they start thinking, yes, on Friday nights we would go out for a walk, we'd go to the movies, this was our date night, whatever. And all of a sudden now they're left with their own thoughts.
Yes.
How can we, as guys who help men,
yes,
how can we help stop the bleeding? What can we do? Like there's a gentleman right now. This must be Providence. It happened yesterday. This young man says, what's the first thing a man needs to think, realize, do? Give me some action steps when a guy goes through a breakup, or if she says that she wants to end the marriage.
First thing you have to look at is don't blame you. You don't I don't want you to blame her or blame yourself. Don't try to take a victim role or try to beat yourself up. The first thing we got to do is we got to cut off the ego and the self-importance that you have here, because it's here that is pushing that, it's either her fault, or she's a bitch, or what did I do wrong and what can I do right and all this other stuff. What I'm saying is that the thing about life that we, myself and George and I, talk about is understanding life just moves on. Life is always going to move. And like the game, it's always going to move with or without us. It was moving before George came into this beautiful world. And when we're both gone, it's still going to keep moving on. So life doesn't care, but you've got to learn how to care about yourself. And it's just accepting. It's George. It's accepting what happened. Now, when you accept it, not to look at it as it's your fault or her fault. We need to begin to accept that it's the breakup. It means that and here's the funny thing, George. So many men have gone through breakups and they felt this way even in high school or junior high school or even elementary with a girl that they really liked, and they thought it was the end of the world. But one day they really broke free of that. And I know, guys, I know y'all are just saying this. It's really no. What I'm saying is the first step, because there's a step process. What we've got to do is we've got to box it in and look at it for what it is. It's just a breakup. But we don't want to look at victims. We don't want to look at fault. We don't want to place blame. We just got to accept the breakup, George, first.
I remember years ago there was a movie called Platoon, and it was like a Vietnam War movie. And in the beginning, the American soldiers are walking through the jungle, and one of them takes a bullet, and it was Forrest Whitaker. You ever hear that actor, Forrest Whitaker?
Yes.
Yeah, he gets shot and he's screaming, he's yelling, he's in pain, and his commander comes over and starts working with him, stopping the bleeding and stuff. But he says to the young man, the young soldier, Forrest Whitaker, he says, "Take the pain, take the pain, take the pain." And the reason why he was doing that was because if he kept yelling, the enemy that was in the jungle would know where they are. He would be giving away their location, and then the enemy would be firing on them. So Forrest Whitaker was screaming, and the commander was going, "Take the pain, just take it, take it." And he eventually just stopped screaming, and they just started breathing. A lot of men go into these tantrums, which brings on more trouble, more pain. You drink, you get high, you get in the car, you're breaking the speed limit, a cop pulls you over. He doesn't know you just went through a breakup. He sees a guy the cop thinks immediately, this guy's angry, he's drunk or high, he could be violent, whatever. And then he gets treated like a drunk, angry, violent man, by law enforcement. And the reality is he's hurting. The guy's in pain.
Yes.
And the cop doesn't know that. So now the man has another problem other than a breakup. He's got a legal problem. So he's going to be put in jail. He's going to have to pay fines. He's got to go to court. He might lose. His car is going to get impounded, whatever. Now he's 3 problems removed away from the original problem, which was the breakup. Everybody deals with pain differently.
Yes.
Everybody deals with pain differently. The guy who is flailing and screaming and yelling, there's no one around him to say, "Take the pain." There's no one around him. And men don't pick up the phone usually and call other men and say, "She just broke up with me, man. There goes my world." Men get very irrational during breakups. They get very irrational. How can a man get back his rational mind while he's going through a breakup or a divorce?
You almost answered your question so right, because I'll give you an example. When I was 13, I was dating a woman like almost 10 years older than me. She was older than me, much older than me. I think, it was 13 or 14. She was older than me, older woman. She broke up with me. Okay. George, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I mean, snot coming out my nose, crying, holding on to pillows, guys, listening to sad love songs, waiting by the phone. Now, back then, guys, it wasn't cell phones, but waiting by the telephone for it to ring or her to come back. I mean, it's my first love. I mean, oh my God, the pain. But what my mentor taught me, in pain, you have flight or fight type mentality, or just staying still. You see, I've always been taught to go into the burning building, go towards the bullets and in the dark cave. And what I was taught to do, the one thing most people never think about, and that is fight fear. That is not going to fear. See, fear right now for a lot of men when they do the breakup songs, the fear is right now is just pumping information, anxiety, making feel, just pumping that guy with information. And what he's doing is the guy is just taking it all in. What I learned how to do, George, is I learned how to go knock on that MF's door. He ain't see, fear doesn't expect you to go kick his ass. Fear doesn't expect you to go knocking on his door. Fear expects you to stay exactly where you are, bottled up. I mean, guys, your stomach's hurting. You got butterflies. You can't even hold food down. You just want to lay in your bed. You either crawl and take a shower, and you sit in the shower. I mean, it's all these things that's pumping in. It's all right here. But what you've got to do, like you said, George, It's the weirdest thing. But when you embrace the pain and understand what the pain is like, because the pain is something that most of us run away from, George. It's something that they've never been taught to face and to go after it. Because see, when you are able to tame it, see, right now in their mind, George, the pain that someone's going through right now in the breakup, it's like a wild side of them that hasn't been tamed. It just, this is who I am. I'm supposed to be upset. I'm supposed to be hurt. And, the world's going to end. There's going to be no tomorrow without her. I mean, these are the things that your mind is pumping into the man's brain constantly. And when you're laying there in pain, you're just saying, give me more of that. Give me more reasons to put a nail in my arm to hold me down. Give me a reason to put another boulder on my back so I can't get up. Because, George, I'm telling you, we all been heartbroken before. It's the hardest thing to get up from. But like you were saying about the pain, guys, you don't know what kind of man you are until you get your ass up. And I know it's the hardest thing to do, but go knock on that man's door. That thing inside of your head that's telling you you're not good enough. That's telling you know what, she's with another guy right now. Telling you know what, oh man, you should go. Maybe you go back to her. She's abusing you. She's mistreating you. She's doing things. Go back and beg, because you know what, having her in your life, even though she's doing you wrong, that's what he wants you to think. But when you start to believe in yourself, and I always go back to the name, when you believe in yourself and believe in your name and believe, and gentlemen, just look at right here, this thing right here, your fingerprint. Your fingerprint says that you are the only one of your kind in this world. There's never going to be another George Bruno in this world, period. And if you never had a twin brother, his fingerprint shows that he's still his own man. What you've got to do is start looking to you to be able to solve the problem, but accept the pain. Don't run from it, because the more you run away from it, the more it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. See, that's the thing, George. People think by intoxicating it and putting a rug over it, running away from it, George, they think they can get rid of it. No, it's still going to be there until you attack it and destroy it. That's the only thing you got to do. And I know it's the hardest thing, George, but something that a man must do, my brother.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't know what to do. There's a thing called having a contingency plan or a plan B. Most guys don't. If I ask them, if your wife, let's say just like a married guy, if I say to a married guy, what would you do if your wife said that she's leaving?
Mm-hmm.
Most guys would be in disbelief and say, oh, that would never happen.
Right.
But every guy that I know that has gone through divorce, the ones that got blindsided, those were the guys that were a little bit cocky before. Those were the guys that would say, oh, that would never happen to me. She would never leave. And then when she does, they're just in absolute disbelief. And their world is just spinning. They don't know what to do, where to go, how to feel, because I never experienced anything like that. And then guys do something I've never known. I have never known women to beg. Men do a lot of this begging thing, and and they start making promises and apologizing. If they did something wrong, whatever.
Yes.
And I've said this for the longest time, that by the time a woman leaves a man, she has thought about it for a long time.
Yes.
She just doesn't go, oh, I think I'm just going to break up with this guy. Very few women are impulsive like that. By the time a woman tells a man that this relationship is over, she has thought about it for months, maybe even years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the man, his perception is that she just came up with it just now. She had a bad day. Now she's breaking up. She's been thinking about it for a long time.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
All right, guys. And I used to be a whore and a gigolo. I mean, I used to sleep with married women. Don't judge. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just telling you how it goes. See, my job was always to take care and do the things that most men won't do. That's to hug them, to hold them, to give them emotional comfort, something that a lot of men maybe don't know how to do, George. I mean, it's not their fault they don't know. They just maybe just don't know how. But like you're saying, what a lot of women do, George, is that they just don't pack up and go. Women, they don't do that. It's another buildup of, okay, first, the first thing you're going to lose is the body before the mind. And what I mean by the body is the sexual attraction that she had with you in the beginning. It's going to start to feel a little disgusting, or she's going to start to think about the all the great things that you had when you first met are going to go woof like that. But when she starts to make that turn, when all the good things go woof, George, all the little bad things about you are minute. She doesn't even, oh, I don't care. Oh, he snores or he eats with his, I don't care. You think he's the best things. It's like, oh, I'm just so happy to be with him, right? But as time goes along, there are other things that happen. You have TV, you've got the media, you got advertising, you got other women, and you got other men vying for this woman. I mean, it's just a lot of things happening. And she's like, I'm loyal to my man. I'm loyal to my man. But slowly but surely, the body part begins to chip away because she starts to lose the physical attraction, not the mental. So that's kind of a telltale sign when they're sleeping, like, okay, let's get it over with. Before it's like, oh my God, let's have sex. Rip her clothes off. But now it's starting to become more of a chore, or don't touch me. Oh, I don't feel like it. There are telltale signs, and a lot of guys don't even see that. Where the woman's not even initiating anything. It's just discussing. It's more arguments. So the first thing goes is the body, the physical contact. Now the last thing goes is the mental, because even though she's not having sex with him, she's still trying to hold on to what they used to have, even though it's starting to fade out, George. It's starting to go away. And what happens again, little by little, it starts to chip away. He's on, and then what happens is all the good things that made her want to stay, that goes away, and then all the bad things that wants to make her leave starts to enhance. Where all you do is just watch TV, and what about me, and what about my feelings? You don't care about me, and then she's taking that plus the body, and then she's starting to what, George? She's not feeling sexy. She's not feeling wanted. She's not feeling appreciated, and she's feeling alone. So then what happens is what? She runs into someone either on the internet or on the street that say, hey, what's going on, beautiful? You're absolutely gorgeous. Oh, no, I'm here. Oh, man, I can tell. And, he puts a little bit of flavor in her ear, a little bit of flavor in her eye. And, a woman thinks the grass is greener. Now, George, she doesn't go over yet. Even though there's the grass is right over there, she can see the grass over the picket fence. What she's doing is, I'm gonna give this one last time and try to save my marriage. I'm gonna go to Victoria's Secrets. I'm gonna take the kids, tell the kids to watch mom. Let's get away. Let's just try to rekindle what I feel is missing. It's the one with, that's her ego and self-importance. What I feel is missing. And when it doesn't happen, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. And then, even then, George, she's still not leaving because she's making a chess move. I've got to build up my money now. I mean, I just can't, I don't know if I'm gonna get the house. I don't know what the situation is, but I've got to figure out where I'm going to stay, who I'm going to stay with, how this is going to be affect. I mean, again, it's a process. Like you say, George, it's not just her grabbing the bags and going. It's a process she's going through to make sure when she's gone, she's gone. And last thing I want to say is, depending on how the severity of the relationship, George, that's where you get the angry woman. Some women would just say, you know what, it's over. I just don't love you anymore. Take care of yourself, or, we'll watch the kids and we'll be good parents, from different houses and all of the stuff, and we'll work together for the kids. But you got to understand the emotional woman, George. It is a buildup. We're talking about buildup from the body to the emotional, and it's a buildup, and that produces more anger and resentment towards the guy, where then she wants to do more harm to him than just walk away.
Yeah, a lot of times that stuff can be avoided if men choose the right woman. Now, you never know. I like to say, date long, marry slow, and if you're going to get divorced, divorce fast. Men making impulsive moves with women, moving the woman in too fast into their domain, and then he ends up getting kicked out of his own house
Mm-hmm.
or his own apartment
Yes.
because she feels threatened. All she has to say now in the year 2021, all a woman has to say is, I don't feel safe. And a man can be removed from his own home. Even the most gentle, understanding man can be removed from his own home.
Yes.
I don't think the system works in men's favor. I really don't. Do you think it works in men's favor?
Well, the system is the system. The system, for me, it doesn't work in people's favor. I use the system to work in my favor all the time, and I teach men the same thing because, George, the system is okay. Think about the system. The system is always going to be there, just like I say with life. Life in the game. The system is going to be there. We're okay. Let's just get it. Let's get to this. Let's knock this dead horse out right now. The world is built for women. They're the greatest consumer. They care about women. They're trying to push women things. That's just what it is. But just because it's there, George, it's still none of my business because I don't play by those rules. See, George, what I teach guys is there's only 3 laws that I follow as a man. The law of the land. If I kill somebody, the force 48, I'm probably going to jail. That's the law of the land. The second law is if it's a 20-mile-an-hour speed zone, that if I'm going 55 in a 20 and I get pulled over, plus being a black man, I might not just get arrested. I might get tore up. It's the law of the street, okay? The third law, George, is the law of your job. Go to your job on time, do what you're supposed to do, get your check and go home. Those 3 laws. Now, with that being said, George, what young men don't or have never been taught is that I can be the creator of my universe from that. If I just follow those 3 laws right there, I can be the creator of my universe, even though you're saying, even though there's this thing going on in front of me saying that it's the woman's world, things are happening, women have more power than men because of the government and all this other stuff. It's there. It's right in front of my face. But guess what? The clouds are in front of my face. The trees are in front of my face. Cars go by me every day, but they don't define who I am. I see them. I notice them driving by, but I don't let the car that goes in front of me define who I am. If I stay on these laws and learn, George, the two important things: knowing how to say no and be willing to walk away. That's the huge. Be willing to say no and be willing to walk away. Okay, George, let me give you an example because you're gonna probably smile. You and I back Star Trek, Captain Kirk, Spock. The original Star Trek. Remember? Every episode, they always had a guy named Yeoman Henson. The no-name guy. We always knew who was going to die in the episode because they always had it. For some reason, like Yeoman Henson or whatever, right? So in damn near every episode, Kirk had to make a decision. Do I save Yeoman Henson and lose the Enterprise? Or do I sacrifice Yeoman Henson and save the Enterprise? But see, it comes from the man making the tough decisions. And the tough decision is loving yourself and loving your name and knowing who you are in the beginning. Because when you begin that process, George, you then deflect from what's going on in the real world. Because what you do, like a company, let's say, guys, let's say I'm getting a job at George Bruno. The big building is George Bruno, has a big GB on the sign. And I walk into that place. George Bruno already has his mission statement, his legacy statement, his vision statement. George Bruno knows what to expect of me because he knows when I walk through that door, I'm replaceable. That's what I know, number one. And when George Bruno, and I don't even get to meet the man. I just hear about him. There's statues of George with his beard and his like scissors and everything all over the place. But when I sit down at HR, they're going to tell me the rules, laws, and codes of Bruno Incorporated. This is what time you come in. This is how long you take lunch. This is your job. This is when you leave. Now, we can negotiate salary, but that's about it. Now, if I agree to those, sign that contract for George Bruno Inc., and I mess up one time, they'll bring me downstairs. They say, sir, we're going to have to write you up because, this is a warning shot. And if this happens again, you're fired. I mean, that's just cut and dry. There's nothing I can say, nothing I can do. And then it's at that point. See, the thing is that's weird about, I would say, women even though society, George, has all those things that you were saying, right? Yes, that's true. But when the company knows that it's the standard, it doesn't play by those rules. It plays by its own rules. And that's what a lot of young men have never been taught, that they can play by their own rules and set their own standards. They think that they have to have arguments and fights, George. They think they have to let a woman walk over them. They think that they're not good enough because, again, you're right. Society tells them that. Mom tells them that. You got content creators trying to declaw them, and you know what I'm talking about, declaw and defanging these young men to get them off the beaten path of learning who they are. See, that's where you and I come in at, because you and I are trying to bring these men back to themselves. And that's where it's all starts for. Even if it's there, George, you're still the man.
You know, it's funny that you say that. There's a lot of content creators and authors that spend an awful lot of time teaching men about female nature. So what happens is all these guys are experts in female nature, but they're complete idiots when it comes to their own nature. So the key to success is not knowing what a woman's going to do, not knowing what her nature is or whatever, however you want to describe it. I think the key to success is knowing yourself, respecting yourself, understanding your own nature. Then everything else falls into place. Those are my first thoughts.
Ooh, you on fire. I feel like on Rocky, I should throw the towel in right now because you hitting everybody with some Mike Tyson punches. See, the female nature, listen, guys, women are allowed to think, okay? They're allowed to do whatever they want to do. That's why we're free to move, free to think. So a woman's nature, again, is none of my business until her nature comes knocking at my castle door. That's when it's my business. Hey, look, I don't mind watching it. If I'm on the Serengeti, I can look at the zebras, the elk, and all the other creatures walk around. It's none of my business. I don't care what they think, because what they think is none of my business. But if they come in my domain, then we're going to have to talk. See, where a lot of guys go wrong, like we talked about this so many times, is to scare these guys into thinking that women are the big bad wolves. See, unfortunately, I hate to say this, women are not necessarily the enemy right now. It's men who are false prophets that make you think that women are the enemy. See, the enemy is not really the woman, because the woman wants to be led. The enemy is the guy, and say man, George, is the guy or guys, plural, that are trying to manipulate and deceive these young men into thinking that women are bad. See, women are not bad. The only time they're bad is when you don't have that sense of self. But how can you learn yourself, George, if all you're doing is worrying about female nature? How can you learn who you are as a man if you're worried about female nature? How can you have a standard, guys, if all you're thinking about is female nature? Show me a shark that cares about a seal when he's eating them and I'll quit. Show me an eagle that cares about the fish when he attacks. Show me a grizzly bear chasing down an elk or a deer in the woods, and show me that they have feelings for whatever they're going, and I will quit the game. But there is no such thing, guys, as female nature when it comes to being selfish and thinking about me. That's what I would say on that, brother.
You know, there are guys out there, and I love bringing this up.
Yes.
There's the guys that are out there, certain guys that are the bitches ain't shit, like those kind of guys. All right.
Hey.
And this is what I say in response to that. And for my audience, you know that I don't usually talk like that. So I'm just going to use, I'm going to use this language to drive home a point. My question is this: if bitches ain't shit, then why the hell are you swiping on your phone all night looking for a bitch? Okay, right? Like you think like, oh, women ain't nothing. Yeah, well, you just spent 2 hours on a dating site looking for a woman. You're contradicting yourself. Stop
Yeah.
it. How about spending 2 hours working on yourself rather than looking for scraps, looking for crumbs that fell off of a table? I like to tell men never swim where other men have drowned.
George, see, I didn't say the B word. George making me say it. I
and I
just
and I don't think I've ever said that on my channel. So
you see George get around a brother, man. George be like, yo, man, them bitches. No, God, no, I love George. I would say
that's
this.
funny.
I know if bees ain't shit, guys. All right, if the women ain't shit, then why did they create a PUA community 2.5 decades ago? If women ain't this shit, they say, why did they come up with jargon, words to use to try to pick them up, gimmicks, manipulation,
Totally.
deception? If they're not, why do people sit around and make videos on them if they ain't that? If women aren't important, why do they make videos day in and day out talking about the thing that they say it isn't? Let me give you all guys an example. Follow Uncle for a second. Get your crayons out, guys. Check this out. You and I both know if we go to a restaurant and we know the service is bad, not only are we not going to go to that restaurant, we'll just tell a few of our friends that the restaurant was bad if it comes up or they say they're going to go to that restaurant. And guess what? We'll leave it alone, we'll walk away, and we'll move forward. But think about this. If women are that bad, now let's look at power here. This is power. How is it, gentlemen, that these guys are making it all about women? If women are the scourge of the earth and women are terrible and everything's wrong, then why are we talking about things that are women and they're all bad and all this other stuff? Why are we creating METAL, SYSBM, no fat, telling guys not to jerk off to have more power over women? Why are we saying this hypergamous nature of the woman? Why are we saying all these things if women aren't important? And here's the kicker, George. I say this with love, guys, but these women are thinking more about a grain of sand on some ocean beach than they are a complaining male. Now, follow me on this. They're not thinking about the men that are complaining, because the men that are complaining, they see them as feminine. It's feminine energy coming out. Now, listen, George, real quick. I don't mind a woman complaining because she's emotional. She's supposed to complain. I don't mind a woman being catty and all other stuff. She's supposed to. That's what women do. Women are supposed to get around, drink wine all day, run their girlfriends, and complain about guys. Complain about, oh, George just being an ass today. I just can't stand him. Why? They're supposed to do that. But men don't do that. Men don't complain about women. And when you are following someone that is giving you more complaints than giving you solutions, then you are caught up in something that you need to run away from, George.
When men complain, it's almost like you're being her girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
You might as well go shoe shopping with her.
Hold right? Purse.
Yes. Exactly. Instead of hold my beer, hold her purse.
Because George, at the end of the day, and guys, get y'all crayons out, write this down. The game is not about women. The game is not about women. So, George, if the game is not about women, then what are these guys talking about? Why are they talking about something that has nothing to do with the man? See, she's called woman for a reason. And if somebody's teaching you about woman, that means they still got mommy connected to them, because a real man doesn't talk about the woman. He focuses on the man. He focuses on what the man needs to do. He focuses on the man, how he needs to build himself up. The women are going to come along. And I always say, no disrespect to the ladies, but you're not special to me until I deem that you're special. I'm not going to be disrespectful to you. I'm not going to call you out your name or anything, but the woman must prove her value and worth to me, because it's about my name. It's about my last ring. It's about getting on my boat in my ship. So But how can one man learn that, George, if he's learning how to complain and be a victim like mommy?
You got it. You know, there is a common theme amongst, I would call, the more solid content creators. For instance, when you are on EO's channel, when you're part of that panel, that's a great panel. That is that show. That is actually one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, Judge, thanks.
And I love whoever did that artwork at the bottom where you're all. I mean, that just I mean, it's great. But I just think that format.
Yes.
It's not a. It's interesting. A lot of times when you see a YouTube channel and there's all these men, you know, like the different these panels of men, and they're just, it's 2 hours of bitching.
Right.
And I'm thinking, you know, they're talking over each other and stuff like that. I really enjoy that show that you do with those other guys. I really enjoy that. You're not talking over each other. You're gentlemen with each other. You give each other a chance to talk. You take your time, and it is a show of diverse thought, and that's a buzzword today, diversity. I don't even like the word anymore.
Yeah.
But there is diversity of thought on that show. Tell me about that show. Who started that? How did you pick all those guys? Folks, all right, listen, audience, I want you to hear this now. They do a show, and I want Steve to just give me the background of this show and how all these guys got chosen. Because when you think about all the content creators out there, there's a lot of weird combinations. You know, and I said something the other night where I said, if you want to know how good a content creator is, just take note of how you feel after the show ends.
Yes.
If you feel like shit and you feel negative, then maybe you really shouldn't be listening to that panel of men or listening to that content creator. If you have kind of a bad attitude, or you got a bug up your ass or something like that, that show that you guys are on, talk to me about it. Tell me everything about it. I want to know about it.
Well, the thought came, okay, so right now we're in a war. See, again, I keep telling you, it's not about the woman. We're in a kind of like a civil war right now between individuals that are trying to declaw and defang young men versus individuals that are trying to show them their greatness and positive and their name and how to handle relationships in women as men. Okay, that was that's what's going on. So I've seen so many people, like you said, all they're doing, there's so much complaining going on. There's nothing being solved. You can't solve anything by complaining. So what I figured was, okay, you know what? Like you and I, George, I call ourselves the anti-villains, because people can't accept the truth, and they want to go down the current. They want to look for, because of the state of how things are going with, the YouTubers. They want to make these guys blame women and make everything okay. And, it's her fault. It's her fault. It's her fault. And then these young men turn off the YouTube, and then they go into life, and then they meet a woman and they don't know what to do. And then they'll end up like we're talking about right now. They're like, how did this happen? Where did this come from? Why didn't these guys teach me? Why did these guys elevate my thinking and get me to see me in a different sign, instead of all we're doing is talking about women, how bad they are. So that was the first thought. So I said to myself, okay, you know what? I need to find, kind of like the Zack Snyder's The Justice League. I need to find a handful of guys that were in the street. Okay, because like see George, like, see, I tell you about George. I always tell you that's why I call him white chocolate. George is the whitest black man I know because George is like George is like from the street. George got street game. See, that's what we call it when you have real game. There's street game and then there's theory. Okay. Theory is just saying and generalizing all women are bad and don't get married and this statistic and that stat over here. And this is a part of, let me get back to why I'm adding it, is because, see, people don't understand statistics. Stats are usually when a company grabs 100 to 2,000 people. They get them in a room, they ask them a question, and they get the information from 2,000 people, between 2,000 and 100. And then when they get the information, George, then they'll post it on the internet. 98% of people say this and 75% of people say that. And it'll get a lot of people to think that the stats really mean what it is in the real life. And it's like, no, that's not true. So what happened was the first thing I started doing, because I started calling them content creators. See, I'm not a content creator. I teach game. I'm from this, like you, George, we teach yickety yak, yeah, I mean, straight, smooth game from the street, not any like theory thing. So the first thing I came up with was real game, no theory. That, because if you ever notice on my page, I started at first. I started, like the nutritional facts and everything. I started saying, wait a second, I need to separate myself because I don't want people to think that I'm like these guys. I'm 100% pure game, original game, like from the streets. So that's what I started first. But then I said, you know what? I need to find other men that have street game, other men that have been in the streets, dealt with women, dealt with marriages, dealt with breakup, dealt with the ups and downs and all the other stuff. But most importantly, men that know the value of their name and who they are. And here's the beautiful thing about it. See, men like you, George, you're all the way in Pennsylvania. I think you're in Pennsylvania, in that area, in the East Coast. You're East Coast.
Yep, Philadelphia. Yep.
Even though I'm from Maryland, I'm in Texas, we connect. George and I have always connected. Because that's what men do.
From day one.
From day one. It's a connection when you can smell your own. When you're around your own, it's just a bond that comes. So the first thing I did was I looked for 5 guys like that. Now, the reason I couldn't get George, because George is busy. I know George has got a lot of stuff to do. There's a tons of guys that are busy doing stuff that I would love to have on there, but I knew these guys could cut off some time. So I found these guys, and you know what? Here's the beautiful thing about it. There's no, what are we going to talk? We go, hey, what's the subject? Okay, go. I mean, it's it. What's the subject? Go. It's not, well, we're going to say this, and this is how we're going to manipulate guys. This is how we're going to do this. No, I wanted, George, 5 other accountable men to not only show other men how men behave, key word, how men behave around other men, how men act around other men, how men demand respect from other men, but how men can teach those that want to listen how to learn yourself. Because the thought process here, real quick, George, is I teach for the single-minded man. I want the guys there when we're teaching these young men. This is not for the whole group. This is not a cuddle party. This is for the individual that's watching us right now. The one guy, the guy at home watching this right now. This is for you. This is for your selfish, conceited, arrogant self. This isn't for nobody else. This is for you and your name. But I wanted to show you how real. See, when George, you know how it is back in the day where you hooked up with the players and the guys, the hustlers, the guys that get women. When they sit around, they'll have a beer, they'll sit back, they'll kick the music, and they'll just talk. They'll just, they like you say, George, they won't talk over each other. They doing more of this. They're doing more of this than anything because it's like, that's what's up. I don't need to say anything because I know he's saying it. You know what I mean? So I came up with real, but the reason I came up with heroes and I have the guys at the bottom is because we're fighting against the real evil, the hypergamy. We're fighting against the female nature. We're fighting against the metal. We're fighting against everything that people are just coming up with that are hurting and destroying young men today. Young men don't realize the hurt that they're going through right now, number one, but they don't understand that the people that they're following, and again, this is no knock on anyone because, George, I say follow who you want to follow, but like Thanos always says, where's it going to lead you back to me? Because at the end of the day, you're going to be heartbroken, sad, and you'll wonder why what went wrong. What went wrong was the information you're getting, theory. Now, this is what I always say, George. If this is how they can tell theory from real game. If they're complaining, if they're blaming, or trying to come up with a new word or catchphrase, run. Hey, it's like going to Camp Crystal Lake. Don't go there because it's a wieldy thing. But if you get around people that force you to be accountable for your actions, that want to build you up, that want to say, you know what? Hey, women are going to be women, but what is the woman to you? But what are you to yourself first? Those are the ones that you want to listen to. But see, unfortunately, George, a lot of young men, we're in a time with computer. I mean, you got, George, like George and I, guys, we didn't have to go. We kind of had to go to school both ways, in the snow with no food, no shoes, right? But we didn't have this technology. When we wanted to get something, we had to get these things called microfiche. We had to go to the library and pull out this little thing and get these little cue cards. We had to do things. But today, everything is, you got a computer in your hand, right? So you could just access things fast. So what these young men do is they want to follow people that give them fast access to things, George. And just because it's fast doesn't mean it's good. And what happens is, and that's how I got these guys together, because we love you. We love men. We love being men, but we also love the appreciation of what it means to be a man, because what we do is we break the thing. Because, the guys over there are saying, don't get married. Well, I've been married for 21 years, no problems. Some of the other guys been with their women 18 years. I mean, the number can have high digit count numbers of being with women with no problem. So that breaks the don't get married thing right there. We kill all the negative stuff they say about women, but we just try to make it about the man. And that's why we say, if you really want real game, like George, that's why y'all listen to George, because George is kicking some real street game. He might not call it street game, but George is kicking street game. So real recognize real, game see game. And it's not to make y'all a hustler or a pimp or a Mac or a player. It's this game that men deal with since the beginning of time, George.
Yeah. I get that feeling from that group. That right now, that show that you do, that is my favorite show on YouTube. It's my favorite show.
That's a boy, man.
And what's interesting is when you guys are on, that's my chance. Just sit back and I listen, and I enjoy that. And I'm so thoroughly enjoying that group, because amongst that group, there's not a single blamer.
Nah. None. Not one, George. Can't. But that's the thing. If you ever hear anybody, because we'd laugh, if you ever hear any of us complain, call the police, because someone's holding a gun to our head. If you ever hear us blame women, George, call the cops. If you ever hear me say, oh, it's female nature, please call 911, because somebody has a gun to my head and I need your help, please. But other than that, George, we love how men are, and that's something a lot of young men need today. And this is what's good about this show here. They get to see how two men come together to show you young men, even though we're still talking about divorce and the pain of a breakup, we're still trying to give you solutions that you can, when you turn off the computer, you can begin to incorporate, George. See, that's the thing, incorporating, because what guys don't understand, George, is that as a man, you should be evolving. The saddest time to me where I feel like crying like a cupcake is 11:59, George, and 59 seconds. Because I know that I got to let go of the guy that I love the most, the guy that I worship, the guy that I follow. I stalk this guy. I dig in his trash. I have a restraining order on me because I follow that guy so much. But I know, George, at 11:59 and 59 seconds, I got to say goodbye to the greatest person I have loved in my life, which is me, because I'm evolving. When I wake up, because the next morning is Christmas, I'm a whole new man. And see, when you learn how to evolve, which they don't teach that on the other side, the more you evolve, that forces the woman to have to catch up or fall behind. But see, a lot of men don't know about that because they were never taught how to evolve. They were taught how to let the woman evolve, but they never been taught. They've been shamed on their sexuality, George. They think, writing poetry or being romantic and all that other stuff is weak and it's like it's soft and all that. No, you've got to learn you and got to learn how to evolve. And that's what shows like this do, my brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I think men get strengthened
Yes.
when they are single and unattached. When you are in pain and in trauma, it's hard to learn anything because you're so distracted by the pain.
Yes.
And when a man goes through a divorce or breakup, and I'm talking about like the guys that, like tonight, there's guys watching this stream right now that went through a breakup this week.
Yes.
I guarantee you there's a man watching this right now whose wife told him yesterday that she doesn't want to be married anymore.
Yes.
And the only thing going through her head is, how can I get her back? And what I like to teach men is get you back, get yourself back. Because in that relationship, somewhere along the line, you lost yourself.
George, wow. And I'm gonna connect the content creator last thing of what you're just saying real quick. See, how is complaining about women, gonna show you how to establish yourself? How is complaining about women gonna show you how to fix up your crib? How's it gonna show you how to cook a dessert? How's it gonna show you how to put the wine above your bed and learn how to have the right music to play and know how to show her why you're the opportunity and not her option? See, so many men position themselves, George, to be her option and not the opportunity. And that's what shows like yours and mine and Real Men shows do is we want to show the man that, look, I just came from Mount Olympus, took the form of man, and I'm just gracing you with me for a few minutes. Now, if you can work and get my attention, first you got to get me curious about you. You got to get my attention. Then you got to make me fall into respect. And then you got to earn my ring and all these other things. But these are things you have to earn. I'm fine with being me. We teach guys being alone is great. Not being lonely is fine. Not being alone. We talk because every man you're lonely. But the thing is that I think so many men, George, miss out on is the fact of how guys, y'all only are using 10%. Gentlemen, you're only using 10% of yourself. You don't understand how vast your mind and your universe is. Right now, for a lot of these guys, they have what I call world is flat thinking, George. They think that this is for a lot of guys that are, and I'm sorry for your breakups and all that. And I know you feel like it's the end, but man, gentlemen, it's not the end. It's the beginning of, and it's just an end of a new beginning. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't, when you reach the floor, that's the end of that. That's the end of the chapter. See, a lot of men have never been taught, George, that in the book of the life of you, there are going to be chapters in your life. The breakup that you have right now, gentlemen, that you have the woman is not the book. That's it. So you were taught to think it's the book, but it's just a chapter in your life. It's a chapter that if you want to, you can rip that MF chapter out, ball that up and do a Michael Jordan fade and shoot that in a trash can chapter in your life. But the only way you're going to learn how magnificent and how you guys, y'all don't even understand. It's just, and that's why I get excited, George, because you just don't know the power that you have. You don't know how great you are until someone can show you how great you are. And then when you know your greatness, the woman is going to think twice before she leaves because there's not another man like you. And here's the beautiful thing, George. If you learn your own language, see, and I hate to bring the content creators up because I'm going to show you how they get you. See, they want you to learn their language, meaning that when you start regurgitating words that you hear from content creators, you're only being the second best them, meaning that you're going away from you. You're trying to be them by mimicking their words and their languages. Like we said earlier, man, you are the only one of your kind. So why not learn your own language? And when you learn your own language of your name, that's what's going to intrigue women, number one. But that's the thing that's going to keep them there, because you're standing on what we call in the streets your own square. You're standing on your square. You're not moving. This is who I am. Love me for who I am. Now, if you go, there might be pain, George. Don't get me wrong. That you know you're going to hurt. But you know what you're going to do? You're going to lift your goddamn head up. You're going to fix your time. You're going to walk forward like a man. And if you want to cry, go drive out in the countryside, cry as much as you want to, wipe your damn tears, get back in your car, and go back to Manville. Because you want to know why? Because that's the love that you need. You don't need to hear women are bad. You need to hear you're good. That's what they're missing, George. They are good, man.
Wow. Say that last line again. You don't need to hear that women are bad. Say that again to the audience.
You don't need to hear women are bad. You need to start hearing how good you are. Because when you start realizing your greatness, key word, your greatness, when you can go, see, I always tell George at the end of my shows, I always show the graveyard. I always tell guys, think about the graveyard before you go to bed, because there are people there that have one thing in common, and that is they thought they had tomorrow coming to them. And you don't know when your time is up, but you got to live every day like it's your last and keep building on your greatness, number one. I mean, this is the importance of being a man. Show out. It's okay to get rejected. It's okay to lose her and all this other stuff. Because here's the beautiful thing. It's not your loss. It's her loss, man. That's when you know your greatness. But when you're listening to someone telling you how bad you are and how bad women are because they treat you bad, that's where you fall off the railroad tracks, George.
Yeah. That's powerful right there. I'm trying to think how that can be applied right now to the guy who's hurting tonight, because there is someone out there hurting. In the listening audience right now, there's somebody that's hurting so bad. They're drinking. They're maybe even thinking of sticking a gun in their mouth.
Yes.
Because they never learned that they are good, that they are worth it, that they have any worth, you know. And I think if your worth is based upon a relationship, if your worth is based upon you being a boyfriend or a husband, if that boyfriend or husband status goes away, then there goes everything in your life. There goes everything in your life.
Yeah.
I need these men to work on themselves before they get themselves into relationships again. That's the first thing.
Yes. Yeah. Again, I want to say two things. First thing, our homework assignment, guys, get your crayons out. Homework assignment. Go to YouTube, guys. Write this down, guys. Power. Write down Power. Ghost breaking up with Angela. Write that down, guys. Power. Ghost breaking up with Angela. And you're going to see the strongest man in his weakest moment, because he has to break up with the woman, George. He breaks up with her. He lets her go. And as soon as he closes the door, the pain is so great. He looks like he's about to cry. I mean, he's like about to hit a knee. He's in so much pain because he wants to open that door and he wants to make things right. But when you watch that clip, you'll see that he shakes it off. He takes a deep breath. He fixes his tie. He looks up and he walks forward. You got to see it. I can't even give it enough credit. It's called Power. Ghost breaking up with Angela. And you will see right now, for a lot of you guys watching right now, you're in the phase right now where Ghost is like, he's crying. He's like, oh man, I love her. You'll see the pain in that man. This is where you are right now. But there's another phase, okay? And I know you can't see it. And I know it's around that corner. And I know it's in that darkness. But I promise you guys, if you keep going into that darkness, like we said before, keep going into that pain. Accept the pain for what it is. Because when you accept the pain, You just trick the trickster. See, you don't understand how your mind works. Your mind right now, if you're in pain, he's pumping reasons to go back to the woman, reasons to apologize, reasons to maybe kill yourself, or reasons to take that beer and or smoke that drug or whatever it is. What you got to do is trick the trickster by beginning to accept what is. You know what? She broke up with me. And I'm not saying we're not getting rid of the pain, but the first step is to accept, George. We've got to accept the pain, and we've got to accept the breakup. Because a lot of guys, George, they've never been taught how to accept things. They thought you're supposed to sit around and be in pain. Now, see if you stump your toe on a corner. Yeah, you can roll around for a good 5-10 minutes and, limp and everything. But guess what? Eventually, that pain goes away. So pain will go away, gentlemen, the faster you begin to go towards it instead of away from it. But the other thing, George, like you're saying, we want to give you guys solutions to this stuff. And a lot of guys, George, some are breaking up with women, some are going through pain, and some are ready to get in relationships with the pain still with them. So all the pain is the same, gentlemen, but you know what remains the same? What is the one constant in all that stuff? You. That's what you don't understand. You are the one constant in your universe, not mine or not George's, but your universe. And when you wake up and take the throne, get back on your throne. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be tough. But when you get back on that throne and put that crown back on your head, you call the shots, George.
Is it Mike Tyson that said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I just think people have to have a plan.
Yes.
A plan B, as Drew said, a plan C, a contingency plan. Yes. What will you do if she tells you she wants out? What will you do if you're going to work and you get the pink slip and you get laid off? What are you going to do? I mean, you can't go over every possible scenario.
Right.
You can't go over every possible scenario in life. You just have to have the mindset that, okay, I'm not going to act emotionally, or if I do, it's going to be brief. I'm not going to live a grieving life.
Yes.
I'm not going to walk around like the broken up guy, the divorced guy. Yes. Quick little story. I used to go to networking groups after work, these meetup groups, and one of them was an entrepreneur group. And there was always between 40 and 60 people. We'd go around the group, introduce ourselves. And when it got to me, my line was always this: hi, my name is George Bruno. I'm divorced. And then I would say what I do for a living. And the head of the group once said to me after the group, he didn't want to embarrass me. He says, why do you always have to tell everybody that you're divorced? And I said, you know what? And I'm scratching my head thinking, that's a good question. Because that was my identity for several years after I was divorced. I was a divorced guy. Am I a guy who got divorced, or am I a divorced guy? And I was walking around like a divorced guy, yes, feeling sorry for myself because my world ended. My world was wrapped up in being a married guy. And when that ended, my world ended and I felt lost. Yeah. And the only way that I could justify it was by everywhere I went. I somehow had to signal to people that I was divorced. And when I look back on it now, I'm thinking, holy cow, that was keeping me in the gutter. That was keeping me in the rut. It was keeping me in a discouraged state. Yes. When I stopped, the words that we use to describe ourselves, like whenever a man fills out a form or an application, are you married, single, divorced? And for the longest time, I was just always checking off divorced. And then after a few years, when I came to the realization I have to stop identifying with being a divorced man, I just put single. I'm single right now. I'm a single guy. I'm not a divorced guy. I'm a single guy. And I think a lot of men love identifying with pain. They love identifying they love putting labels on themselves. I remember I saw a therapist and I said to him, "Hey doc, this is," and I'm talking many, many years ago, several decades ago. And I said, "What diagnosis would you say that I am? Am I clinically depressed? Am I?" And he says, "George, I'm going to stop you right there." I said, "What do you mean?" And he says, "I know what you're doing." And I said, "What's that?" And he says, "You want to put a label on yourself." He says, "I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow you to label yourself." And week after week, I'd wonder, well, am I depressed? Am I this? Am I that? What am I going through? He says, "Stop trying to be a clinician with yourself. Stop putting labels on yourself, because you end up living up to those labels that you put on yourself." I always speak out against men putting themselves down. I don't like self-deprecation.
Right.
I don't like men, even as a joke. Some guys put themselves down and they think it's funny, and they are kind of like the subject of all the jokes. And I'm trying to teach men, don't put yourself down, because if you put yourself down, your unconscious mind is going to believe that. I hear guys say, "Oh man, I can be such a loser, or I can be such an asshole." And I say, stop it. Stop calling yourself names. Don't call yourself a name that you would never tolerate someone else calling you. If someone walked up to your face and said, "Hey, you're a loser," what would you do? You'd want to, you want to deal with it. But why do we call ourselves losers? Why do we call ourselves names? I think a good way to train yourself to succeed is to start using words that lift yourself up.
Yes.
That elevate you.
Yes.
Oh, I have nothing but failed relationships behind me. Nothing ever works out for me. I hear guys talk like that, and I stop them. Stop talking about that, because your unconscious mind is good. Eventually, it's going to believe that you are a loser, and you will act out the script of a loser.
Yeah. What happens, gentlemen, don't put yourself down. Put yourself up. I'm going to say it again. Don't put yourself down. Put yourself up. Put yourself up on your throne where you're supposed to stand on. You see, gentlemen, let me explain the why what's happening that the content creators don't talk about. But let me explain this to you guys. See, when you have in your mind, you've got a thing I call scribe. Okay. Now, scribe is the mental guy that's taking down information that you give it. Example, if I ask you guys what 2 + 2 is, you'll say 4, because you've already scribed it in your head. You believe in it. You sold it to yourself, and you can access that information really good. So whatever you tell yourself or your scribe, that's what he's looking at. So if you're saying I'm a loser and you get around a woman, scribe is going to be, oh, wait, let me pull the file. Oh, wait, it says here line 560. Okay. Hey, I'm supposed to be a loser. Hey, can we bring fear, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of lack of confidence in there? And we're going to slow this guy down, because he doesn't really want to do anything, because what you're doing is you're putting yourself down without putting yourself up. You see, guys, let me tell you guys, all you guys that feel that right now is the worst time of your life. You don't understand worst times of your life. Gentlemen, let me say something to you guys, because probably no, excuse me, I was about to cuss. Probably people have never told you. I know, Joe, sorry. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm getting around you. You see, I get around George, I want to cuss. I'm trying to cuss. I'm sorry. But what I'm saying is, I apologize. But what I'm saying to you guys is this. While you are in pain right now, you don't understand what pain is. Because for all you guys that are in pain right now, this is I want you to think about this. Even though you're in pain, you get to open your eyes and see the TV, the door, the keys. There are people out there that wish they had your eyes right now to be able to see the doors, the keys, or the TV. Some of you guys can get up and walk places. You know what real pain is? There are people out there who can't do that, who can't get up and walk around. See, even though I know you're in pain, but to put yourself up is to realize and be grateful for what you have right now. You have hearing right now because you can see myself and George. You have sight right now because you can see us right now. Your fingers are working fine because you access this. You have things going on. And when you start to focus on the ups versus the downs, the pain is going to be there, but it's like a mosquito bite. You'll feel it. It'll be there, maybe a little bump. You might scratch a little bit, but eventually it's going to go away because what you guys are doing is you're focusing your attention on the victim side of you versus focusing on what we need to do next. The pain is there. The breakup is there. We must accept it, like I said, George. But now it's there. Okay, I accept it. Now what am I going to do? Because as men, we're not going to sit and wallow. We're not going to sit and complain. We're not going to sit and be upset. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start figuring out our next move. Because I've got to take care of me, George. And I love me. And I hate when I'm down. I hate when I'm sad. I hate when I'm upset. So I need to put myself up. I need to go, hey, guys, this is what I want you to do. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I bet you if you go in your bathroom right now and look in the mirror and you look at that guy in the mirror and say, I love you, it's going to be odd. He's going to say, I love you back. If you look in the mirror at that guy and say, you know what? I got you. Guess what he's going to say? I got you back. Because at the end of the day, that's all you got to focus on is that man in the mirror. So many times, George, gotta keep bringing up the content creators. They want you to look out the window and not the mirror. Because, gentlemen, when you look out the window, you see a light reflection of yourself. But who's ever on the other side of that window can see you as a whole, and that's the problem. You're too busy playing checkers while your opponent is playing chess. What myself and George want you to start doing is look at the man in the mirror and be honest with yourself. You're not a bad person. You're not terrible. You're just misinformed. That's all. That doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you a loser. See, I don't even use the word loser because I learn. I'm not a loser. I learn. I win, learn, draw, George. I don't lose. Have you met me before? Even when I lose, I win because I learn, gentlemen. And these are experiences that you got to learn about. But stop putting yourself down and start putting yourself up. I know it sounds crazy. I know it's a little cliche there, but I promise you, the more you begin to love that man in the mirror, the more he's going to take care of you because he's going to give you a defense mechanism. He's going to be tough on you sometimes, but he's going to love you more. And the more you focus on that, real quick, guys, like if I told you right now to go get a bowl of cereal or go turn on a light switch, you go do it, there's no voices in your head. Like right now, even though you're in pain, if I told you go turn on a light switch right now, you turn on a light switch, you would forget about that pain. It's just like that. And you won't even know it. If you guys got up right now, went over there and just listen or turn 5 pages of a book right now, you would forget about that pain. It is only when you begin to focus back on that pain it comes up. But that's how fast we can get rid of it. I mean, George, we deep over here, brother. We deep.
What is it about men? I always tell men when you go through pain, when you're, if you have to deal with your own pain, you have no one to talk to. I have taught men, first, do no harm to yourself. Second, yes, do only good. What is it with men that want to punish themselves?
See, a lot of men feel, I hate using the word stupid. A lot of men feel really stupid once things, okay, what they do is they'll go back to the files of all the relationship they have and they'll play it all over again. Man, I should have never bought her that ring. I should have never bought her those flowers. There's a lot of shouldas and all these other things, man. The thing that men should start doing, George, instead of the shouldas, the things I can't do, listen, we cannot, Rosebud, my boy who from the streets says it the best, guys. This is a crayon moment. This is This is going to be one of the most important things I say if I don't say anything on this show right now. And this is from Rosebud Bitter Dose, who was in the streets. You can't play today's game with yesterday's score. I'm going to say it again. You can't play today's game with yesterday's score. Yesterday's score is yesterday's score. Your breakup, if it happened 5 minutes ago, is yesterday's score. If it happened a day ago, it's yesterday's score. If it happened a week ago, it's yesterday's score. You can't win the game now. What you got to start doing is realizing that's in the place called the past. Learn from the past. Don't live in the past, George. And I think that's something that will separate, because a lot of guys, they feel stupid. They feel bad. They feel like, oh, man, I'm such an idiot. I'm such a fool. I can't believe I loved her and I cared, and I can't believe I gave her everything. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. No. You know what? I loved her. Yeah, I gave her everything. You're right. And hey, and here's another trick. Watch this, George. Right now, for you guys in pain, guess what your mind is telling you? You're no good. Your mind is telling you you're a fool. Your mind is telling you, see, it's all your fault, right? And whatever your mind is telling you, guys, let's do this. Follow Uncle on this. Whenever your mind says something to you like you're weak, stupid, ignorant, or silly, or something negative, agree with it, and I bet you it's going to shut the hell up. You want to know why? Because if you agree with it, it's at that point it's saying, damn, wait, when did he learn how to read and write? Wait, this ain't the script. He's supposed to, hey, anxiety, confidence, wait a second, this MF, I was about to cuss again. Wait a second, he's agreeing with us. See, gentlemen, when you disagree and you're fighting against and not fighting at, that's the problem. So whenever you feel that you're stupid and you hear that voice saying, oh, you're stupid or you're a loser, you know what you say? Yep, I'm a loser. But anyway, guys, it changes your perspective because it changes your mindset, brother. George is deep today, brother. It's deep, baby.
It is. I tell a lot of people to pre-plan their response. I'll tell a guy, I'll ask a guy, what will you do if your wife tells you she doesn't want to be married to you? And literally they're scratching their head and they'll say, gee, I never thought about that. Or, oh, she would never do that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I want every man to be able to have, an escape plan if crap ever goes down.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you don't trust the other person. That means that you're just smart.
Yes.
You're the most devoted spouse in the world. I mean, I know people that were very devoted spouses who ended up leaving, and the person who got left was just shell-shocked. They're just they look like a zombie. They're in absolute shock. They've lost all feeling, and any appreciation for anything. They want to numb things with alcohol or firing up a bowl or just, taking multiple pills and just kind of numbing the pain. And of course, that's not the answer.
Right.
So,
yeah. It's guys, listen. It's easy to say. I know it's hard to do, but as I said before, I hope you remember, write down Power, Ghost, breaking up with Angela. Please, y'all got to watch this. I'm rolling this, what I'm saying right here. See, the thing that makes a man in a woman's eyes is the fact that he can walk away. And I'm not saying that you dangle walking away over her head or dangle saying no to a woman over her head. But when a woman knows that she's replaceable, not that you're going to replace her, gentlemen, but think about your job right now. Why do you perform like you perform right now? Because the company knows that it can replace you. Like, let's say I'm working for George Bruno Incorporated and I'm not doing my job. You know what they're going to do? They already got the next person coming in. It might be Tony Bruno coming in. They might be interviewing a guy named Tony Bruno right now in HR. You know what they're going to say? Steve, can you come downstairs for a second? We will have a conversation with you. I said, all right, I'll be on my way downstairs, right? And while I'm downstairs in HR, They're going to take my security card from me. They're going to say, okay, you're no longer working for here. They're going to have a security guard here. They're going to go, somebody will go upstairs and get all my stuff in a box. And as he's going down, Tony Bruno's coming up to sit in that warm ass chair that I warmed up for him. But you know why? Because nobody is greater than the company and everybody's replaceable. And because you know you have one foot out the door, that is why you work hard, because you know you can be replaced at any moment, anytime. See, when a woman feels comfortable, and what I mean is when she knows that you ain't going nowhere, I ain't going nowhere, that's when you notice that the job people slack off. It's the same thing about a relationship. Your woman needs to know, and this is not a threat. She just needs to know at any moment, any time, I can walk. I'm good. Listen, if you break up with me, like I watched Ghost and Angela, yeah, it's going to hit me a little bit. You know, it's going to hit me. But, okay, I'm gone. Because it's never my loss, George. That's what I'm trying to get to show these young men. You don't lose as a man because she's going after your name. You don't lose. She's going after your ring. You don't lose. So don't look at it as a loss. You got to accept it. But like you say, the plan of attack, you guys have to know before you walk out that door, don't look for marriage. Stop looking for relationships, because you set yourself up like you're playing poker with your cards facing the other direction, George. You go out to do whatever it is, and if a woman so happened to come in your sight and you want to bite her neck and take her up the tree, Serengeti terms, you'll do that. But you don't look for the relationship. But what you do is you build yourself up to be able to say no and to be able to walk away when there are signs of mistrust, disrespect, or abuse. And like we said, like the Captain Kirk thing, George, you got to make the sacrifice. That's the hardest thing to do, is to make the sacrifice and having to let her go. And I know, George, some people have kids and all that other stuff, but you have to understand with kids, it's worse to be in an environment with the kid there, because the kid sees things that y'all think they don't see. And what you're doing is you're showing the kid what a bad relationship is. I'm not saying you're sacrificing your child, because you can still see your child. I'm saying for the betterment of the child, it's best that you not be in that situation, because you don't want to disrupt their thought process of what a man, a woman in a relationship is, George.
I totally agree with that. Let me ask you this. Yes. What if, and this is putting you on the spot, what if your woman said she wants out?
Hey, I love her. I listen. Guys, listen. I cut for my woman. 21 years I cut for her. But you know what? I love her, but I love myself that much more. This is the key. Guys, it's an inch of an ingredient. Now listen to me. I cut for my woman. That's love in the street. That's what we just say cut. I cut for my woman. But I love myself that much more, man. It's that little bit more that I know that one thing I will not do is I will not be enslaved in a relationship or try to prove who I am in a relationship. You have every right to not, you can fall out of love. You have every right to say, I don't want to be in this thing. And you know what? Just like the job, if you want out, go. But the thing is, most women that get around your boy, they know, like at the, the grocery store, George, where they take that little piece of tape, the number, and they wait in the line for the number to be called up. The women know that they can be replaced at any time. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. I'm not saying, no, I'm not threatening that. I'm just saying that she knows, and every woman I've dealt with have always known this one thing. It's not happy wife, happy life. I can't even say that without choking. Hey, if the king ain't happy, the realm ain't happy, then the king has got to be happy. And if I ain't happy, no, I'm going to say happy because I make myself happy. She can't make me happy. If I'm not respected, sorry, let me take the happiness down, put respected. If you don't respect me, bye. If you want out, goodbye. If you got a problem with me, goodbye. Hey, there's the door. I'm not going to stop you, because even though it might hurt a little bit to lose you, I still got to deal with me at the end of the day, George. That's how it is, man.
I think the quote of the night, as we wrap up this show, I think the quote is this: I love and respect her, but I love and respect myself that much more.
Woo,
And
yes.
I really think that'll keep a man from going over the edge. I
Yes.
think it's a great attitude because there's so many men that have this, uh, God, I mean, pop music
Yeah.
just teaches men how to be weak.
Yes.
Just, what was that one song by Bruno Mars? I would,
Oh, man. It's for women. See,
that grenade song where he would like take a bullet for her, jump on a blade and take a grenade and all, and like, dude, why don't you write a song about what you would do for yourself? The whole song is about how he would kill himself somehow
yes.
for her.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
just, or let himself get killed for her.
Yes.
And I just think that type of pop music just trains people.
Yes.
Like music, you know, we music really is a message delivery system. We like tunes and melodies and harmonies and beats.
Mhm.
That's cool. But sometimes the words that are attached to those harmonies, melodies, and beats trains you to be weak.
Yes. You know, George.
And
Oh,
go ahead.
good. No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. Go. I'm sorry.
It trains us to be weak, but we listen to these songs over and over. That's why I find it really hard to listen to music now.
Mhm.
And
Well,
I ask myself, is there any truly solid music out there? I mean, the music from my day taught men how to be just wimps. Horrible.
hell, if you're gonna jump on the grenade for her, guys and take the bullet and the stab, after she's done crying, she's just gonna go to another guy. Yeah, just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, Titanic, Leo was in the water and she's, oh, Leo, I missed him. And then what? A few years later, she's with another dude while Leo's fish food. So, hey, guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
let me show you guys. There's a music that nobody ever tells you about. In this show right here, we're going to tell you the music and the station to listen to, okay? The station is called Your Last Name, and the song is called The Beat of Your Own Drum. That's the best. That's the number one hit for every month and every week. It's the number one song on your top 10, The Beat of Your Own Drum, gentlemen. They don't talk about that stuff over there. This is the hot stuff over here. When
Yeah.
you learn the melody and the beat of how you move, how you act, man, you can beat, you can rap, you can beatbox, you can play all the melodies, all the music, everything, and it will always be a number one hit because it's your life and your world. That would be the song. I would tell them to do that. They would definitely do that, man. That's the song.
Is there a music that teaches, is there a music genre that teaches men how to be strong?
Ooh, well, yes and no. Well, they teach you how to be strong by kind of knocking women a little. Well, see, rap, see, hip hop music, they got different genres of hip hop music.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing you'll notice about most of these hip hop guys, they really don't give a F about women. They like, hey, hey, look, she coming in, she gotta go. She just a hoe. I said so. I mean, I'm just rapping right now. But I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, I mean, it's not to knock women, it's just some of the stuff is bad, some is good, but if there's any song that's out, I would say rap music because the guys, I mean, the real ones, the good ones, it's all about real game. They're going to teach you that, you know what, you can't cupcake. You can't be a cupcake in this game because even in the Serengeti, even in nature, the weak will always fall, So you got to learn how to get your big boy pants on and not live the life as a gangster and not be a drug dealer. But there are some things in there that teach manhood. But in another sense, just like a lot of go back to the content creators, there's a lot of guys that put on a facade. Y'all guys got to look up the definition of it's called kayfabe. Kayfabe. Remember that, guys. Kayfabe is when you take on a personality that you're not really doing. So there's a lot of those guys over there that talk like they got women, but when the lights go off, they're the bitch to the, I had to say, they're the woman's bitch. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful what you listen to. So that's why I would say start learning your music right now. Start learning your melodies and learn your notes and listen to music for entertainment, but don't take it serious. Learn more about you. That's what I would say to that one, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. What is that one song? And I forget the year that it came out. Where the guy, he's talking about like what she wants for dinner, and then he says, "But I was thinking Burger King." What? You know what I'm talking about? She's like, you were thinking lobster, and I was thinking Burger King. Something, you know what I mean? Like you know how these, like I like to say, Fleming's is for the wife, Outback is for the girlfriends.
Yes.
And Ice Cube, yeah, Drew, Ice Cube, yes. What gets me is like the guys that will go out, they swipe right on a girl.
Mm-hmm.
They go on a first date and they're taking her to a steakhouse and they're dropping $250 on a first date. What do you think of that?
George, I can't really say the things I always tell guys. I got a rule. There's a simple rule. Look, we ain't doing dinner. We're not doing dinner. Now I tell guys there's only 3 places that we can go. And if there are any women listening right now, sorry, ladies, this is how guys talk. So please disregard what I'm saying. But guys, she only gets 3 things from you. Number 1, we can go feed the ducks at Lake Spread Your Ass Cheeks. That's number 1. We can go get coffee or ice cream on the corner of your face in the pillow and your ass up in the air. All right. Or we can go for cocoa on the corner of my thing on your forehead and my balls in your mouth. Those are the only 3 places we're going. We're not, I'm sorry, we're not going. There ain't no dinner. I'm sorry. Lady, I'm sorry. I gotta be real with guys. I made Judge laugh. I just saying, we ain't doing dinner, man.
I gotta take a drink. Hold on.
Yeah, I need a drink too after saying that. You can have bread, ice cream or tea, coffee or cocoa. That's all you get out of me. See, that's a wrap. See, that's all we do. I'm not taking you out to dinner because if a woman, listen to me, guys, check this out. If a woman, I'm about to give y'all some game, show you how some yak work. A woman says, I want to go eat. Hey, by all means, let that guy take you to Chez Francois. And while you're there, I'll give you my order so you can come back and cook it for me. Because I'm not going to take you out there. You want to know why? Because you know what? Feeding you does not show if we're compatible. I'm trying to find out your character. See, what I'm trying to find out, does your character match your looks? That's what I'm trying to find out. And I just want to go to a nice, calm, cool spot where you and I can just talk and get to know each other. And that's something I always tell them, guys. I did this whole thing on my last video of breaking down even how to set up the date. Like for Coco, George, before you even go on the date for Coco, you should go to the place, get the cocos, get the pastries, and taste test everything, find the right combination, find out where the cocoa came from. And then when you put some flavor in their ear, hey, baby, you know what? We're going to go to George. Hey, you ever heard of George Bruno's? Yeah, girl, you ever heard of George Bruno's? Girl, they have the best cocoa. I don't know what George does. They make the cocoa so nice. But you know what? I asked him about that. You know what? That cocoa came from, the island of Bruno. And let me tell you something. Have you ever had George Bruno cocoa from the island? Oh, girl. And it goes great with a nice slice of cocoa. George Bruno, a slice of George Bruno's velvet chocolate cake. Oh, that's going to be the perfect spot. So I will see. We're going to go to George Bruno's. We're going to have a great time. It's going to give me an opportunity to look in your eyes and make sure, guess what, that your character matches your beauty. And check this out, George, one more thing. I'm going to give y'all this, guys. I'm giving y'all game, how it works when you have real game, not content. So then when you sit down, guys, when she comes in, you give her a hug, you twirl her around. When you give her a hug, you tell her how nice she smells. Take her hand, sit her down, okay? Now, George, I want you to be my waiter. I'm going to kind of give you guys, we're going to do this in real time. I want y'all to see this. Now, George, you're going to be my waiter, okay? All right? You're my waiter. You come up to me like you the waiter. How you going to greet me as a waiter? How you gonna greet me? No, George, you greet me. We're role playing right now. George, you greet me as the
All
waiter.
right. Hello, welcome to
George.
Bruno's Steakhouse. My name is George.
We couldn't coffee, cocoa. We ain't at the steakhouse. We had George Bruno.
Oh,
we had Bruno's coffee shop. We getting cocoa. So we had that.
Welcome to Bruno's Coffee Shop. My name is George. I'll be your server tonight.
Hey,
can I get you any drinks to begin with?
Hey, hold on. Nice to meet you. Hey, George. Hey, my name is Steve, and this is Karen over here. Hey, George, let me tell you something before I even order things. Look at George, check this out. I love cereal and everything, George. You know what? I was on my way to get some cereal and everything because I love Cocoa Krispies and whatever, Fruity Pebbles or whatever. And hey, George, check this out. Look at this right here. Now, George, let me ask you a question. Would you not ask that? Look, George, now I'm gonna pick her up. I'll twirl her around for you. Just say, George, come on, George. You know I bite her neck and take up a tree. Won't you? You see what I'm saying, George? Say, hey, George, check this out. We're gonna get 2 cocos and a nice slice of George Bruno's velvet chocolate cake because that's the perfect combination. But hey, George, I just want to let you know, when I ask for the receipt, I want you to give me 5 minutes extra because at that time, George, I'm going to slide myself over there. And I'm saying this in front of the woman too, guys. I'm going to slide myself over there and I'm going to find out how good that velvet cake tastes. I want to know, does it taste good on the fork versus on her lips? So, George, give me 5 minutes, okay, brother, when I ask for a receipt. But I'll holler at you later. Now, what woman is going to, what do you think is going to happen? See, George, you even smiling right now. I'm commanding the room. I'm commanding. I'm a great time. And I'm setting up the kiss. I'm setting up the kiss, having a great time, and giving George a story of how we met. Because you know why? Because all day George has been shitted on by other people. They're just like, George, give me some cocoa. I want some cocoa. Don't even talk to George. George's having a bad day. So if I greet George by his name, talk to him like he's a regular person, he's going to serve us better. But here's another thing that they don't know, George. How about, because I go there with all my women, I ask for George. And every time I see George, I slide him a $20 bill. And every time because I want George's service, George got the best service. I already know who I want. So I'm going to make sure George is working Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So I want to make sure that's who I want. So when I get to that cocoa spot with that lady, I'm asking for George because George knows me. He knows what I want and he knows how I am. And we're going to connect. And it's all, see, that's game right there, George. You see what I'm saying? That's game. It's not theory. It's not complaining. There's no complaining, huh, George? We spin some yak. That's game.
No complaining allowed.
And
no complaining.
Yeah.
No complaining, no explaining.
There you go, rapping. No complaining, no explaining. Yes, sir.
I used to, I got to be friends with a guy that opened up an African restaurant. He's from Ghana. And I could take a woman there and he would say something like, oh, who is your beautiful lady? Let me get you something. And I would just stop in to say hi. I wasn't even talking about sitting down and eating. I just, whenever I walked past there, I'd stop by and say hi. And he would say, with his accent, I can't do the African accent, but he said, just wait a minute. Let me get you something. And he'd bring out like some to-go bags and say, this is for the beautiful lady and this is for you. Enjoy yourself. Have a good evening. And she would be so impressed. But the funny thing was that he would see me come in every week with a woman, a different woman at that time. And he played along with me.
Yes.
He played along with me. And she was always like, wow, you have carte blanche, man. They really treat you well. You're like a VIP here. And I said, oh yeah, I'm a VIP. It was pretty funny.
No, but that's game though, because what you're doing is you're setting up the chess pieces. You're making the moves now. You're setting everybody in the store. The manager may say hi to you. That African guy spoke to you. He knows what you like. He knows your favorite this and that. So it's impressive when you go somewhere and people know your name and they know what you like and they serve you, which is what I want because I want her to ask the question because she's thinking, how many other women do you take here? Is this the spot you bring women at? No.
Yeah.
This is the spot I bring women that I'm interested in at because I want them to get to see me in my element. Always give them the why. You're painting the picture, but you're impressing her by when you go places, people know your name and they know what you like. They know if George went to a bar, he knows the bartender. If you're going for wine with a woman and you know the bartender, I got you, George. I already know what you want, George. What can I get for the lady? You see what I'm saying? That gives you points. We call those booty points. That gives you points with the woman. George.
It's funny. I like make moves early and often. I've always said that back when I was dating around, and because I always hated going on a date with a girl, and I never, I'm not a steakhouse guy. To me, that's for the wife. When I'm married, that's for the $250 dinners.
Yes.
But as a single man, it's Mexican food or coffee or that kind of thing. But I always hated the point where you'd walk a woman back to her car, then there's that uncomfortable moment. It's like, okay, do I shake her hand, do I hug her, or do I kiss her? Like what? And it's just tension all the way. And I think if that tension is broke early on the date, rather than waiting to the very end of the date, because that's an awful lot of pressure on a man. Right. At the very end, when you're walking her to her car. I mean, in my generation, you would get the girl's address and say, okay, I'll pick you up at 7. Women don't want you to know where they live anymore. Right. They say, well, I'll meet you there. And I guess that's standard procedure, obviously.
Yes.
So, but those last couple minutes that determines if the date was a success or not, where she says, oh, come on, get in my car. Get in my car.
Yeah.
Then you know that there's a possibility that you can get close with her. There might be some intimacy and that kind of thing. Or if she just says, oh, thanks for dinner. Then you feel like a loser. Because every man wants to win. So that's why I say, make your moves early and often. Don't wait till the end of the date because you're just going to get let down.
Oh, George, I got a testimony I got to post up, but I had a client that had just that same problem. He met this woman. They go on this date, and it's just like nothing's going right. It's just like he feels like he's going towards the friend zone, right? So what he did was he took one of my nuggets that I always talk about on my shows, and he was like, well, how's that root beer taste? Because he was drinking root beer. She's like, oh, it's good. He said, well, come here. Let me see how it tastes on your lips. And he grabs her and kisses her. And as soon as he did that, she was like, in shock as in good. And she's like, where did that come from? It's like, so, because she told him that later. But at that point, she was all into him. She bought him dinner. And then, because I got a thing called a kissing 101 move I teach the guys. He gets her to the car. He does the kissing 101 move. She gets him in the back seat. And they're doing some backseat things, and it's like he never would have got to that point in the back seat if he didn't make the move early by doing the simple move. That's why I set up with the guy. Now, if it was a woman, I knock 2 birds out with 1 stone because she looked good. I can double back and get her, but that's just how the game works. But what I'm saying is that's why I set up the kiss early but what a lot of guys don't know, George, the kiss should be set up before the date, and they ain't ready for that part of the game. See, George, I always tell guys to have wine above their bed. I always tell them, man, you always have wine, because guys like, what is that about? Always have wine above your bed, because how you communicate with a woman is very important, George. George, this is some game now. It's game time, George, because we need to teach them some game. So, see, what I teach guys is there's 4 ways you can attack: land, sea, air, and space when you communicate with a woman. Most guys just text. That's land. Sea is voicemail. air is video and space is going live. So I'm showing you 4 ways to talk to a woman. But I always tell them, have the wine above your bed. You got to do that. Why? Because I'm going to position you, George, to get her to see you as more of a romantic kind of person versus a boring guy. What do you do for a living? Who's your last boyfriend? All this other stuff. So what I tell guys to do is when you're talking to a woman, she texts you, you all go back and forth with some text, ask her, let me see a photo of yourself so I can, so I can tell you why I look forward to our date on Saturday, whatever. Okay. You keep doing that. Eventually, George, she's going to ask you for a photo, right? Or you send her one. And what you do, George, take your phone and you practice this, guys, before you send it. Take your phone, have you in the phone, but have the wine above your bed. Now, this is how it works, George. You lay in the bed so you're on the pillows, okay? So she knows you're in the bed. And while you're talking to her about how pretty her picture is, you lean the phone up. And by the time you get done from the bed, you'll be angled to the wine above the bed. Now, let me show you why that's important, George. See, number one, what separates most men is how innovative, how creative they are when they communicate with women. Most guys just text. When you send a woman a voice message, all you're doing is giving her the drug of you because she's so amazed, George. She'll keep playing it over and over again. Then she's going to tell her friends, oh my God, you won't believe what this guy did. And they're going to keep playing it over and over and over again. And then one day she's going to stop just looking at the video. Then she's going to start looking at your surroundings. You wait, say, he was just in the bed, but wait, is that wine? Hold on, I got to ask him what's going on. Now, remember, I'm showing you how to move it from what you do for a living to more intimacy. Just this off the wine off the bed, George. She's going to ask you, is that wine above your bed? And guess what, George? You're like, oh, yeah, that's wine. Why do you have wine above your bed? Oh, that's nothing. It's just when I have a woman over my house or in my bedroom, I don't want to spoil the mood. I mean, just think of it. If you was over my house with me right now, we were making out, would you want me to just stop what I'm doing, to get up, kill the mood, to go into another room and get some wine? Or would it be better to have the wine access right there where I can pour a little bit of wine, and we can have some. And between you and me, I'll pour a little bit more wine to go off the glass and hit your skin. And that will give me a reason to see if the wine tastes better on your skin than it does the glass. So you see what I'm doing, George? I'm already setting it. See, what I'm doing right now is going to connect to when I go to George Bruno's because she knows that I'm a smooth and intimate person, which a lot of guys, George, we definitely got to do a show on this one of these days about sexuality and sex because a lot of men think it's bad to be romantic, sensual, and sexual, and they think it's a bad thing. But these are the things that women look for. Thus, what we're talking about today hurts the divorce rate. Women want to leave because they want what's in those romance books. They want to feel like that woman in that book. And what I'm doing is I'm just giving you a sample of what it's like to be with me because then she's going to want to know how many women does he have? Because only a man who has experience with women, with sex, comes up with innovative ideas to make the game special. George, you see what I'm saying? They don't teach that over there. You see what I'm saying? They can't teach that over there. That's game, George. That's game. Come on.
Teach them how to hate women.
Yeah, they can't teach that. That's game. What they heard right there, that's game. Because women, think about this, guys. The women out there, they have never met a man, I promise you, that has wine above his bed. They have it. And it's an anomaly. And it is something that she's going to ask about. And I want her to ask about it so I can begin to paint the picture of what it's going to be like when you're with me. See that? When you're with me. So when you break up with me, George goes full circle. She's going to be thinking about who's the next woman that's going to get the video? Who's the next woman that's going to get the voicemail? Who's the next video that's going to get the wine above the bed? Who's the next woman that's going to go to Lake Spread Your Ass Cheeks to feed the ducks? Who's going to be that woman? You see, that's where you win. It's game, baby.
You don't hear that very much on other men's channels.
Yes.
I will admit that's not something that you hear very often and is not taught very much, I would say. I think it's better to how can you put it? What do they say? It's better to ask for forgiveness than to beg for permission. And I just think it's just better to be upfront and bold right from the get,
Yes.
rather than trying to manipulate, orchestrate. The manipulation. I don't like the manipulation. Being straightforward with your intentions is a beautiful thing. And I think a woman would respect a man if he is honest and straightforward, rather than trying to take the long way around and be manipulative. Nobody wants to feel like that they got conned.
Yeah. Well, here, let me give you an example, Joe. Let me show you an example. See, let me pull this up. Let me give you an example. Here's an example right here. This is an example for one of my clients right here. Let me see if I can zoom that in for you. Here you go. Stacy, I'm just sitting here on my bed reading you. Am I going to talk to you? See, that's what you get from my clients. But you want to know why he got that from her? Because of what you just said. You see, I teach men exactly what you're saying. Look, this is the root. When we're having the best time, I'm going to let you know I'm a drama-free man. I love to have fun. I love to have fun with you. I even like your company. But if anybody tries to disrupt my universe, or anybody brings drama into my life, I let them go. I just don't have enough time to deal with BS. And I'm willing to let somebody go. And I will say that up front to them in the beginning. So I try to kill the disrespect from the jump street. You're allowed to do what you want to do, but I'm also allowed to walk and say, who's next? The little ticket thing. I mean, but see, here's the thing, George. Women can tell how good you are with women by how honest you are with women. See, when you, like George said, when you can be we call it on the street, guys, we call it being 1,000. When you keep things a buck, 100, or 1,000 with a woman, that's going to show her how many women you have, because you're willing to lose her even if you want to keep her, George. George, you know what I'm talking about, man.
I think that those last few lines of what you said, I think if that's said on a first date, like right from the get,
oh yeah,
I really honestly think that I think a woman's response would be like if you tell her, hey, look, I'm willing to let someone go. If there's I'm not into any kind of drama, and I will let go of anyone who brings any drama into my life. But I'm also open to moving forward on something with the right person. I can just imagine a woman would say, you know what, I can respect that.
Oh yeah, yeah. They love it, George. It's not even the respect. They love the dominance of a man standing on what I call your square. That's just like with George Bruno Incorporated. It's your square, it's your standard, it's your principles. Yep. You stand on what you are. You stand on your name. You're trying to get close to my name. You got to be Smeagol, like Lord. You got to climb that mountain and get that ring, baby.
Right.
You're not just going to get me just because you look good. Your looks got your foot in the door. Now, what are you bringing to the table? And that's what I'm trying to find out. But again, I'm not the average guy. I'm not like the other guys. Yes, I'm sexually attracted to you, but I don't need you in my life to be sexually fulfilled. I don't mind having you in my life. I like how things are going, but please understand this. Just, you know what? You're allowed to get mad and angry at other people, but just don't bring it to my doorstep. Don't yell at me. Don't scream at me. These are my rules. If you want my time, my wine above my bed, my light colored, and my yickety yak and make you smile, make you blush. Because guys, if you say the word ass, I mean, you just gonna smile anyway. But you want to make you smile, and come on, you got to show me why you are in my presence. Why should I be around you? But again, a lot of people think that way, George. A lot of men feel like, you know what, I have to put up with. I gotta impress her. If she says the sky is green, I gotta say the sky is green. If she says it, You're allowed to think what you want to think, and I think what I want to think. But with all due respect, I will never try to push my thoughts on you, and I won't allow you to do that with me. With all due respect, we will agree to disagree. That doesn't mean we're not compatible. That means that we just don't agree on a certain subject. And that's how you got to talk to women, because they're not used to that kind of yak, brother.
I think men have a plan, women have shit tests. On
Yes.
first dates, men want to follow through on a plan.
Yes.
If this happens, if she does this, or if she says this or acts like this, then I will take it to the next level and you'll escalate. And you'll know when to escalate. But I feel like for instance, with like these swipe dating sites where you swipe left or right.
Yes.
You swipe right because of how a woman looks and nothing else. Right. Anything that she writes about herself, I don't believe. I swipe right only because of how, not me personally, but I'm just speaking for most men. A man will swipe right because of how she looks, but he will swipe left for how she acts.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was on dates back when I was in the dating world where women would talk about, they would say, so how has this site been treating you? Have you met anyone? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about people that I met. What are you, stupid? And I don't want to hear your story. Like there's this popular myth, like, hey, so what's your story? I don't want to know your story. You have a story. That's why you're here with me, because you have a story.
Yes.
You know, you had an ex-husband. He was abusive. He's a narcissist. Yeah, I already know the story. Let's talk about you and me. Okay. And where we're going to go and what this night is going to be like and how we're going to conduct ourselves. I don't want to hear any stories. The fact that two adults are dating means that they both didn't have something that worked out. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here at the Mexican restaurant right now.
Well, hey, George, let me tell you something.
Not at the steakhouse.
Not at the steakhouse. Guys, listen to me. If you go to a woman's profile, all that stuff that she talking about, long walks, and if you looking for sex, and I want a guy to row the boat while I twirl my umbrella, and he's got to push me on the swing, and he's got to run through the field, and we got to hug each other. Man, look, that's not for guys like us. That's for the regular guy, because women lie. They don't, all that stuff on profiles. Disregard it. Throw it away.
100%. Throw it away.
When she's holding a dog and she's just turning her head this way and trying to be pretty, man, come on with all that stuff, man. These women love to lie, but when they get with real, they have no choice but being real, because a real man is not going to deal with fake. So, gentlemen, that's why you don't set your profile up to try to impress her. Don't talk about how much money you have and what you do and all this other stuff. And don't try to sell her on a lifestyle that you got to hold up if you meet her. No, don't do that. What you do is you talk to her and you let her know why she should be getting with you. Listen, what I love to do, George, is I tell guys, plant the seed. Just plant a seed in their head of what you would like. You're different from everybody else. Why? Because you text, you do voicemail, and you do video. Most guys don't even text, but you're hitting her with voicemail, video, and texting. So you already separate yourself. That's the seed, George. So when she talks to the other, see what George, they don't understand is it's not really me that gets her. It's the other guys that push her back towards me. Why? Because when she sees the way I communicate with her and the way we have a great time without me asking a bunch of interviewing questions, she goes and talks to all these other guys. What do you do for a living? Who's your last boyfriend? Da, 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 da. And guess what? He's weeding, he's giving water and sunlight to my seed. And that's what makes her come back. Remember, guys, women don't want the same old guy, and that's what they're getting. They want the guy that is an anomaly. They want the guy that's different. And I'm not saying you got to be different, but I already told you earlier, George, you are different because you're the only one of your kind. You're like an alien on this planet. There is nobody like you. And that's why we say learn your own language. And the more you know you, the more they who regurgitate things are going to push her over to you, George. That's game right there, man. That's how the game works.
That is, boy, we covered a lot of ground tonight, didn't we?
Yes. Always, man.
Well, I I like the idea of bringing this up eventually. We started out talking about guys that are in pain and trauma. And you know what? At least this is one thing I know to be true. At least we help them stop thinking about their pain. We made them laugh a little bit. We made them
Yes.
think about other things, uh, and maybe showed them where they might have went wrong. You
Yes.
know, a every structure needs a solid foundation, and
Yes.
if a relationship has failed, there's a possibility. I'm not saying it's all the time, but there's a possibility that the foundation of that relationship wasn't established right from the get. So if she didn't value you right from the very start, when she dumps your sorry ass, it's because she never valued you.
Right.
She never, women don't get rid of things that are valuable.
Right. Guys, I don't know if y'all know this, but have you ever went over a girl's house and she had a wilted flower that she had pinned on her wall or in her diary or in her drawer next to her Willie Mammoth 2000 vibrator? That's from George Bruno. that's why she's got it, because that's the only thing she has left of him. But when it comes to value, guys, it's this simple. Why should she value someone who doesn't value himself? We can't ask for a woman to value us when we look through the window and don't value ourselves. The only way you're going to start valuing yourselves is look at the mirror and be honest with yourself about what is wrong with you versus lying to yourself, telling yourself what's right about you. Because what y'all don't understand, women have met you before, and y'all don't understand that. Women, I'm telling you guys, they have met you before, and that's the problem. They know your every move before you make it, and that's the problem. See, when you're single-minded and you stand on your name and you stand on your uniqueness, she's never met you before. So that means she doesn't have a playbook on you. There's no book on you out there when you stand on your square. But when you try to pretend, you try to be like somebody else, or you try to prove yourself to the woman, she's met you before, and that's the beginning of the end.
Yeah. I like to say pursue excellence and excellence will pursue you.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the excellence comes in the shape of a woman.
Yes.
Some of the gems that I got out of you tonight are stop looking out the window and look in the mirror.
Yes.
I think that was absolute gold. I want to ask the audience, what gold nuggets did you get from the broadcast tonight? Give me one sentence, one nugget, put it in the live chat here. What did you learn tonight? Tell me one thing that you will leave this broadcast with that was valuable to you, something that you're going to put to practice. I would like to see what the audience says. Plus, test and see how close you were listening to these things.
Yeah, that's a student of the game. Yeah, you take notes and you find things that resonate, and you just implement them. Yeah,
I'm looking at Drew. He just says, "I'll be feeding the ducks in an hour."
Oh, you're gonna take a late spread? Yes.
That is a good one, Drew. That made my night. Now that's funny. That is funny. Holy cow! Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Any other nuggets that the audience?
Yes.
What did you learn tonight?
Yeah, they gonna get some loaf of bread, George. They gonna be like, shoot, I got to find legs bread.
Yeah, exactly. Infinite Warrior Production says self-value and self-love before anything else. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. A+, absolutely. Good one, brother. Good one. Yes.
I'll add another nugget that I got out of it that I never heard before. Yes, honey, I love you. Baby, I love you so much, but I love myself that much more.
That much more. Yes.
Just that alone. Yes, I love how you cook. I love how you dress.
Yes.
I love how you treat my family.
Yes.
I love the little things you do for me. Honey, I really love you, but I love myself that much more.
And that's why I can walk away. I mean, is that little inch right there. And that's what we're bringing you. And gentlemen, this is what's so great about Jebediah George, because I love this, my dog, White Chocolate. This is what I love about him, because we're trying to teach you something that when you turn this show off, you can implement it in your life. And it's positive, and that's how you evolve, man. It's taking the information and utilizing it. That's how you evolve, big dog. That's just beautiful, man. That's Drew, yeah. I'm gonna send you a loaf of bread, Drew. I got you, Drew. I got you on a loaf of bread, brother. Wonder Bread. We gonna spend $1.25. I ain't gonna get you the 99-cent bread. We gonna get you that $1.25 bread, brother.
So tell people how they can find you, Steve.
Yes. Well, first, hey, listen, all the Bruno listeners, we love you, man. This is my dog. I want to say thank you to you, George. I always appreciate you. I love doing these every month, and I look forward to doing it next month. But to everyone out there, I want to say thank you for you guys out there taking the time out of your schedule to listen to this show, man. We want to help you. We got nothing but love for you, and we understand where you're at. But you know what? We know where you're going, and we're going to get you there. Guys, if you want to check me out, you got me right there, themanmindset.com. The show that we're going to have is going to be Sunday night at 6 o'clock, called Real Game No Theory. And guess what? When you go to realgamenotheory.com, you'll see every individual, because I made sure, George, every individual, you click on their picture, it'll take you right to their information. Because it's not about getting money. It's about giving out great information. And it's like a family thing. So, but I just want to say to everyone out there, guys, listen, get your crayons out, man. Listen to George. If you need help, come to me. I tell you, I got you. I got you covered. We have a lot of information. We're about to drop a sex membership, George, to teach guys about spitting that flavor in that yiggity yak, while you throwing out the bread to the ducks, I mean. But we got you covered, man. But George, man, you are the man, dog. Yeah. Like, subscribe. Subscribe to me if you can. But listen, get the likes up, because you know what? I'm gonna tell you about George. I know I ain't supposed to do this, George. You owe me $50 after this, dog. But I want to tell you about George Bruno. George Bruno, I'm telling you, George is the smoothest, coolest, white black man there is. George is the kind of man, when you get around brothers be like, damn, your daddy black. They asking that kind of stuff, because you know what? George knows the game. And George knows that, you know what, the importance. He has understanding of men. He has understanding of women. But you'll never hear George complain. George is trying to help you guys the best way he can. And it is I'm honored and privileged to call him friend, family, damn near, because I'm only even though I love being a Williams, man, I would love to be a Bruno. Man, can you imagine having an older brother like George? Man, he would give me all his little scraps. Like, man, I don't want this one. You have me. I'm like, thank you, George. You're my brother, man. Appreciate it. Man, this is my dog. I appreciate you, George. You're the man, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And this is our second show that we've done. We're going to do a once a month show.
Yes.
And it's always interesting to get your perspective about things. I like how things evolve. And, we took a topic that was dark and heavy, and we ended up being very light,
positive,
and positive about it. And here's the deal. Remember, at the beginning of the show, I told the audience, I said, when you watch other people on YouTube, take note of how you feel, after the show ends, after the video ends. My goal is that you always feel a little bit better, a little bit bolder, have a little more courage, feel like you got a little bit of a shove in the right direction. I don't want you to feel depressed. I don't want you to feel like a loser. I don't want you to feel discouraged. And I only have guests on my show that I believe are going to help you move in that positive direction. So I just want to say thank you to the audience for being here. You have a lot of choices on YouTube on a Friday night, but you chose to be with us tonight. And I just want to thank all of you. And Steve, thank you for being with me tonight. And we will do this again.
Yeah, George, I just want to say something. One homework assignment for everyone, because I want to leave you out with a homework assignment. Homework assignment, gentlemen. When this show is over with, you go in that bathroom, look at that cool MF in that other side of that mirror. Tell him, I love you and I got your back. And I promise you, he's going to say the same thing back. That's your homework assignment, guys.
I love it. Great job, everybody. Thank you, Steve, the Dean Williams from themandmindset.com. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.